Hey guys, coming to you from outside today before it gets rainy and icky, and in fact you may hear some background noise. The bees are buzzing. I just hope they're not one of those murder hornet thingies. I don't think they are, but anyway, just coming to check in with all of you and share my progress on my book, but more importantly share my message and epiphanies and inspiration and get your feedback. And so the last few weeks, it was interesting. I was reflecting on when I first did my first ever keynote speech, which was actually a funny story because I didn't even know I was like the keynote speaker until like 2 weeks before when it came out like in an article. And I was like, oh, I'm actually the keynote. So anyway, these things always sound so fancy. But when I did my first keynote, and I did it on the power of authenticity, and this was, maybe 6 months after I had left, and had of course, figured out like this word authenticity and how much I think it defined me, but also defined what I was passionate about and what could help so many others. And I remember the speech went great. I got off the stage, I got a lot of compliments, but I had this one gentleman came to me and he was like, loved your speech, but like you defined authenticity as storytelling and humility and humor. And well, that's just not me. And, ever since that time, I've really thought a lot about like, how the hell do I define something that really people see as like being yourself? And in fact, I wrote a Business Insider article a couple months ago that was the 5 signs to know you're not an authentic leader. Because I think, first of all, the anti-definition is the easiest, right? Like, when you see somebody and they're not authentic. But as I've been working on this book, I'm like, I got to figure this out. Like, I have to figure out, what does it really mean, so that and how do I teach others to do more of it, even though it's known as this like be yourself thing. And the last few weeks have been really groundbreaking for that. I've slowed down. I've taken a lot of time to read and do research and reflect. And one of the things that I did, of course, being married into the Greek into the Greek family, I'm like, there's got to be a Greek definition of this. And so I was so excited when I saw the Greek definition of authenticity. It's derived from a word authentikos. And it essentially means, I'll read it off here, it means being original, genuine, and authoritative. I'll say that again. Authentikos means original, genuine, and authoritative. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, that's what it is. Like, I agree. So many people, the question I get all the time is like, can you be too authentic? Like, what if you like scare your team away or your employees or that interviewer? And the biggest misconception is that authenticity actually equals transparency. Like, no, people, like, it's not. Like, authenticity is not getting up in front of your team meeting and being like, well, last night after I made love to my husband, I just decided to think about and stay up all night thinking about our systems and how they're going to collapse, and because we don't have enough money to invest. Like, no, authenticity is not the same as transparency. And authenticity is this beautiful blend between being genuine and being strong and being authoritative but being kind. And it's like this juxtaposition of not just being like a wet blanket and not being like somebody that people walk all over, or just being soft. Like, authenticity is not crying in an interview or in a tough situation. Like, that's not what it is. It really is about being unique and original and somebody that people trust. And so it's one of the things I've really dove into and spent a lot of time on, so that as I write this book, that I can guide you. And I also really had a breakthrough. I wanted to be able to give people like a framework, if you will, quote unquote. But framework didn't feel right. And where I've really landed is like, what are the ingredients for authenticity? Like, I want to be able to help people. I want to give you like the noodles and the sauce and the meat and the cheese, and like, you can make lasagna, or you can make falafels, you can make pizza, you can make whatever you want. And so I'm excited that I've come up with a framework as well. It's called HUMANS. It's an acronym, HUMANS. And it really stands for the 6 most powerful things that I think are the absolute ingredients for authenticity. But I'm not going to tell you what they are. because I want to hear from you. I want to hear what your thoughts are on authenticity and on this definition. Have you always thought it was like complete transparency? Or how do you define authenticity? What does it mean to you? So I'd love to hear from you. I am continuing to write. I hired a book coach and an editor, and she's phenomenal. I found somebody that's, well, authentic. And it's really making me love the writing process. In fact, yesterday was Mother's Day at the time of this recording, and all I asked for my family was just 2 hours by myself to write, which I'm like, who are you? So I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. I really encourage you to find, I know everybody's crazy and it feels like you can't find any extra time. But if you find that thing that you love and do something that's you're passionate about, like, it will help you get through these tough times. I hope that you're getting through okay. So thanks for tuning in. I'd love to hear more of your thoughts on the definition of authenticity and what you think. Have a great week. Bye.